there in the second half, we didn't have the opportunity offensively to get our defense any rest, and they started taking advantage of it and running the football against us. You know, if you looked at it, you know, there was times wasn't a whole lot of fight, and that's something that's definitely concerning that we have to figure out. But you know, a lot of guys went out there and did fight. A lot of guys had a lot of effort, played hard, but this certainly wasn't the effort that we needed to get a win today for our seniors and for our football team to close out a regular season here at Georgia State Stadium. So, y'all got any questions?
Could you talk about the pressure that Manning seemed to be under pretty much the whole entire game? I know the Aikman kid had 2 sacks in the first half, so they seem to be coming off the line.
Yeah, it was more so there in the second half than anything. You know, when we had to start throwing the ball, they went to a 3-down front, and they had an edge rusher that was getting a lot of pressure on us. So, you know, we had our center go out, so we had to move our starting guard in there to center, Pax, and that eliminated us to have really another offensive tackle to put in there because we had to put Lucas Johnson in there at guard. So it was a struggle to keep the edge rush off Connor. To tell you the truth, we should have done a better job of having somebody chip and have some edge, you know, help with that tackle that was getting beat. But you know, when you know you got to pass the ball, and you know, a whole lot you can do to them guys coming off the edge. And maybe move the pocket a little bit, but at that point there wasn't going to be a whole lot of play action passing going on. You know, even though you're only down 2 possessions. You know, we were struggling to run the football there at times, but just the injuries kind of took a toll on us there inside, you know, and on the edge. Any other questions?
Last week we spoke about the gap control by defensive line, and this week, do you feel like it was the same issue, or just that the defense was on the field too much?
A little bit about being on the field had a lot to do with it. You know, some of it's just not recognizing what's going on. I mean, anytime they motioned their wide receiver in there, he was cracking our strong safety. Our safety wasn't getting underneath and getting in the fit, and it was spitting out, which, of course, wasn't making the play up front, so it was having to be contained by our safety. We didn't recognize it. I mean, we didn't get down low enough and fill, and you know, that's certainly a gap control problem. But I think if you just recognize what they're trying to do, we could be a lot better.
Obviously, because of the injuries and such to the running back core, you had to use people like Devin Gentry. Just can you talk a little bit about, you know, getting Glenn Smith involved the way he was, and just what Devin Gentry did to that?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, we lost. Kyler couldn't play, of course. You know, you lose Penny, and then you know, Glenn at times ran the ball really well, and then at times he looked like he was in slow motion. So we tried to get Devin in there as much as we can. It says here he had 5 for 46 and long of 27. So, you know, we try to utilize him kind of like we did Penny earlier in the year and getting some carries. You know, it was hard to get our other backs involved. I think DeMarcus Kirk had 1 carry, and the first time he carried it right there, he fumbled it. So it was good to see Devin get in there. You know, Devin's a good football player. He does his job, and he steps up when he can, and I was really pleased to see him go out there and do some things that we haven't asked him to do in the past.
Coach, what was the message that you told the team just a few minutes ago when you went into the locker room?
What was the message? Just how very disappointed I was in seeing how we came out in playing our last home game with our seniors, you know, the way they're going out, but the way we represented ourselves, you know, our family and our university with such careless play at times. It was a little bit like a team divided. Not so much there was bickering, but not everybody pulling in the right direction. You know, it was one side, you know, taking a turn, then the next side taking a turn. So, you know, I really didn't even want to focus on anything moving forward about a bowl game. I mean, you know, when you go out there and you put on a performance like we did today, you've got to look hard at yourself in the mirror before you can move forward, and we got to do that before we even talk about moving forward to the next game.
What has Victor Hayward meant to this defense?
I mean, listen, true freshman coming in here, I mean, he's making plays after plays. He gets better every single week. Victor's a guy that you look at, and he plays with a great heart and great efforts, and he's everything that you see and that you want in a football player. Nothing phases him. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He just goes out there and does his job. And the great thing about it is he's back, and he's got 3 years to continue playing. So he's going to be one heck of a football player, and already is. But I just like how he goes about his business.
Could you talk about the contribution, maybe the leadership, some of the seniors that are outgoing seniors have shown this season?
Yeah, you take a guy like Julian Laurent that's sitting right in here, fixing to speak to you. I mean, here's a guy that probably had other options. He didn't even have to come back and play his senior year, but it was important to him to come in here and try to help build this football program and further it. And a lot of guys like that. I mean, you just look at them from across the board. You got a guy like Kyler Neal that's been around, and he's been banged up and always bouncing back, and Sullivan in there in the secondary. I mean, those guys they've laid the foundation here for our university and for our football program to move forward. I mean, it hasn't been a real easy. I say last 4 or 5 years for them. There's been big time struggles. I mean, some of these guys were lifting under tents when they came here, and to see where it's grown and to see what we've done, and it's just a huge. I salute every single one of them because they've put their fingerprint on this program.
After you ended your play today, going forward from this point, is there any one thing that you see character-wise or that you need to address as far as postseason aspects with this team and getting them prepared for whatever it is that they do next?
Character-wise?
Just the play of them as a team, not as individuals.
I think we have to really pull for one another. I mean, that's the thing we have to do. I mean, and I won't really say pull for one another. These guys are pulling for one another. It's just the careless football play that I've seen. I mean, I thought at times offensively we could go up and down the field today, and you would have a careless drop. I mean, we had a sideline touchdown throw that hit him right in the hands. I mean, a couple drops here and there, a fumble on the 1 yard line, the missed opportunity on the last possession of the first half. I mean, they just play a much smarter, cleaner game. I mean, because you take 4 or 5 things out of it, and the momentum probably builds, and this team really explodes. But it didn't happen. Nobody made a play. Nobody wanted to make a play. It didn't look like to me. I would look at them in the eyes, and I'm like, somebody's got to be the spark. So we're looking for that spark. And typically Penny Hart's that spark. But Penny goes out after his long catch. So it was not there. Any other questions?
Well, really, they were trying to establish a good run game so they could do establish a passing game, and we had stopped the run, and we were pressuring them in the pass. So then they started doing a lot of RPOs and stuff, and we didn't adjust properly to it.
And then what has it meant playing next to people like Trey and Chase and now the emerging Victor? What's it like having those guys next to you?
Man, I love them boys. It's been a fun ride. They bring so much energy, and if I do it again, I would.
Obviously disappointed in the outcome of the game, but you still got some football left. As a member of your team, where do you see your team at as far as what they feel they need to do?
We just need to readjust. You know what I'm saying? It's going to hurt for 24 hours. We have a 24-hour rule. Let it hurt for 24 hours, and then we'll figure out on Sunday where we're going to go as far as bowl game, and then we'll attack it, watch film, practice, and all that stuff. And you forget about the past game and you work on to the next one. So that's what we're going to do moving on.
Connor, what was your assessment of the offense and their play today?
I think it's been a common theme. We're not finishing drives, shoot ourselves in the foot. And when we have, I don't know, so many turnovers, it's hard to win a game. So I think for us, you know, especially in the first half, we're moving the ball up and down the field, but we're just not scoring.
I mean, even though statistically you had a pretty good day, what did it mean to this team when the spark, as Coach likes to refer to him, Penny went out?
Yeah, I mean, he's a huge part of this offense. But, you know, when he goes down, we got to have guys step up. And I felt like, for the most part, I didn't do a good enough job of making my teammates better. So I put that on my shoulders.
Connor, right before halftime, you all had a chance to get 3 on the board. Can you discuss what happened on the last play when the receiver was tackled in bounds?
I mean, that's just bad play by me. I got to know it's either got to be, you know, in the end zone or out of bounds. And I forced something I thought maybe he could run out, but it's just bad play by me.
On some of your passes today, was some routes run wrong, or was maybe some confusion out there? Because sometimes it seemed like you were throwing the ball one place, and play was going another direction.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I think that's a whole part of collectively as an offense, the chemistry that we're trying to build. And when guys go down, we have some injuries. You know, we're pretty banged up. When guys go down, and you know, other guys got to come in and step up. And we didn't do that today.
How do you use today's performance as a building block to move forward?
Yeah, I mean, luckily, I guess we have one more game left. But it's, I mean, very disappointing to go out there today, you know, last home game, and perform like that.
Connor, this is your last regular season game with the Panthers. How would you describe, if you could choose a few words to describe your career with Georgia State?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just stay positive and just say, you know, I've been blessed for the opportunity to. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do when I left Utah, and you know, the coaches brought me in and you know, fully trusted me, and I couldn't be more grateful to, you know, to be here and be a Panther.